Well, the image that comes to mind is those two old guys on the Muppets, you know, that sat in the balcony.
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf, all right.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump finally agreed to debate while Mitt Romney and the MSNBC crew sit around and react. I'm RobOnTheRight. Let's go take a look.
But I actually think there will be a huge audience for these debates. I think people have very low expectations as to what President Biden will do. I think they have much higher expectations about President Trump and his combativeness.
What are your expectations?
Well, I share the public perceptions. We'll see what happens.
It's a little sad and pathetic that these Democrats and rhinos pivot to highlight our lowered expectations out of Joe Biden. Somehow they think this is going to serve him and not Trump.
Donald Trump lowers the bar for Joe Biden immediately when he talks about these debates, right? He called him today in one of his Truth Social posts the worst debater that he's ever, the worst person he's ever debated, Donald Trump said. And also Republicans for the last 4 years, during the election and during his presidency, have called him a dithering old man who doesn't know how to talk, right? And so the expectations have been lowered by Republicans, and you don't see Democrats going out of their way to try to raise the expectations because, you never know what happens on a debate stage.
Of course they're not going to raise the expectations. I mean, they're probably shaking in their boots right now. Anything can and will happen on that debate stage. I kind of feel bad for Joe. He's going to get the snot kicked out of him. If Biden was my guy, I wouldn't want to see him on a stage with Donald Trump.
I don't know exactly what to expect. I do think the Biden folks got a huge concession of no live audience. I think that helps Joe Biden tremendously, and I think it hurts Donald Trump equally as much.
And he doesn't care about not having an audience. I mean, he loves his people, but he's done one-on-one interviews before, so I think he'll do just fine. Regardless, the left can't stop gloating over these perceived advantages.
In a controlled setting where there's no crowd and a well-informed moderator with good questions, and it's about policy, and it's about answering questions about perhaps some of his trials that are sitting in front of him.
Of course. Let's just focus on the BS witch hunt trial instead of the state of the nation. I mean, I think people are sick and tired of this trial, and they want to hear why our economy is terrible, why we keep sending money out of this country, and why we won't close our border.
The devil's in the details here.
Yeah.
There's a lot that has to be worked out. There's a lot. There's venue, moderator, whether or not they do make a choice about crowds. Trump wants it, Biden doesn't. The microphones are going to be a big issue. We highlighted that last hour. Will Trump will Trump agree to a system where he could be cut off at any time?
This is an area that I think that the Dems will use to their advantage. Obviously, the first debate is over at CNN, and they're going to have their finger on that mute button. I just know it. Based on the last election, I'm sure the Biden administration will use every trick in the book they can to make this debate go in their favor. You gotta love how Al Sharpton tries to get ahead of this by calling Trump a cheater before the debate even happens.
I think that Donald Trump will try to use every trick he can to avoid debating, particularly on a one-on-one without an audience.
Well, there you have it again, the whole audience issue. I don't really follow the Reverend's line of thinking on this one. I mean, he's saying that if there are people there, then Trump will be cheating. And if there are not people there, then Trump will be cheating. I don't know, sounds like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Either way, I think Donald's going to crush it. But I'd love to know what you think. Do you think not having an audience is going to hinder or help Trump? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, Sharpton's coverage regresses back to talking about Trump's trial, which really isn't looking good for the Dems.
Let's not forget, we are waiting to see when he gets a verdict in Manhattan.
Right.
Because if the verdict doesn't come until June, if he's convicted, he will need the permission of his parole officer to travel to any debate.
Right, there's that. There's a long way to go. We have no idea how that's going to turn out, but that is the possible outcome there.
That is the possible outcome there.
Look at that face. I mean, is that the face of confidence? No, it's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's a look of a Democrat who just saw Donald Trump's rally down in New Jersey. USA, USA, USA. If you haven't seen that rally, then you should definitely check it out. I made a video about it. It was a total banger. Like 100,000 people showed up. Come on, check it out. And if not, see you around the campus.